The movie kicks off inside this little antique shop, and in walks a pilot named Betty. He's holding this old toy monkey, the kind that bangs on a drum. The shop owner notices blood on Betty's clothes and asks about it. Betty quickly says, "It's not mine. I'm just here to sell this toy. But listen to me, whatever you do, don't let this monkey start drumming. If it does, something terrible could happen." You can tell Betty's already on edge, and before anyone can ask more questions, the monkey suddenly starts drumming on its own. Betty's panicking, but the shop owner isn't taking it seriously at all. Then the monkey stops, and out of nowhere, a rope gets pulled, triggering a statue to fire an arrow straight at the shop owner. It's brutal. The guy's body is literally dragged away in pieces. Betty is horrified. He grabs the monkey, runs outside, and sets it on fire. And after that night, Betty just disappears from the face of the earth. His wife, Lois, assumes he abandoned his family and is living on his own somewhere. Now she's left raising their twin boys, Bill and Hall, by herself. Thing is, Hall doesn't really like his brother much, because Bill treats him badly most of the time. One day, the twins are rummaging through their dad's old stuff and find a bunch of strange things, including that same creepy toy monkey. There's a note on the box saying, "Win the key in the back to make it work." Bill, of course, wants to try it out. Hall is nervous and tells him not to, but Bill ignores him and wins it anyway. The monkey raises its hands, but doesn't drum, so they both just assume it's broken. The next morning, Lois leaves the boys with their babysitter, Angela, so she can go on a date. Oddly enough, the monkey is now sitting on the back couch. Hall notices it, but just figures Bill put it there. Angela takes the kids out to eat, and at the restaurant, the chef is doing this flashy knife trick for the guests. Meanwhile, back in the car, the monkey suddenly starts drumming. At the exact same time, the chef's knife slips from his hand and, without warning, slices right through Angela's neck. It's chaos. Everyone's in shock. After Angela's funeral, Lois sits her boys down and says, "That's life. We're all going to die someday." That night, they try to lift their spirits by dancing around the house. The next day at school, Hall gets cornered by a group of girls who bully him because his dad supposedly left the family. He's too shy to fight back, and they even pull his pants down before sending him home humiliated. When he gets back to his room, he finds the monkey sitting on his shelf. Confused, he asks his mom why she put it there, but she insists she didn't. That night, Hall can't sleep, thinking about the toy. He starts to suspect that Angela's death might not have been an accident. Things get even stranger when Hall finds the monkey in his backpack at school. The bullies see it and start making fun of him for carrying a toy around. Bill joins in with the bullies, tossing banana peels at him. Furious, Hall goes home, finds the monkey on his bed, and vents all his anger, yelling at it and wishing his brother was dead. Then he wins the key. The monkey starts drumming. Later that day, Bill is talking to his mom about dinner, but she doesn't respond. When she finally turns around, her neck is completely severed. Just like that, she's gone. That's when we learn the horrible truth. Every time the monkey drums, it chooses someone nearby to kill. And it doesn't take requests. It decides entirely on its own. Lois's funeral is held, and the doctors tell the boys she died from a burst blood vessel. Bill is devastated and refuses to believe she's gone for good. Meanwhile, Hall grabs a hatchet and smashes the monkey, shocked to see real blood pouring out of its arm. Still, he keeps going until it's completely destroyed, then throws it away. After their mother's death, Uncle Chip and Aunt Ida reluctantly take the boys in, even though they're not big fans of kids. The family heads to the small town of Casco. Bill can't shake the feeling that another funeral is coming soon, and on their very first night there, he looks out the window and swears he sees the monkey. When he turns around, it's right there in their room. Hall insists he destroyed it, and now he's convinced the thing is cursed, or worse, possessed by something evil. He even thinks it's behind both Angela's and Lois's deaths, but Hall doesn't admit that he wounded up the day their mom died. Bill is half convinced, but being the reckless kid he is, he decides to test it. He wins the monkey again, just to see what happens. The result? Uncle Chip is trampled to death by 67 horses in the forest while sleeping in his camping bag. Now the brothers know for sure it's cursed. They toss the toy into a deep well, thinking they've gotten rid of it for good, and it works for a while. But 25 years later, the killing starts again. One night, Aunt Ida wakes up to the sound of someone breaking into her house. She grabs her gun and searches every room. She even goes down to the basement, but finds nothing. On her way back up, the stairs collapse beneath her, sending her crashing into a pile of fishing hooks. She heads to the bathroom to treat her injuries. As Aunt Ida's walking through the house that night, she suddenly smells gas. She heads toward the stove to check it, and out of nowhere, the whole thing bursts into flames right in her face. She's screaming for help, but no one else is home. She stumbles outside, only to slam straight into a signpost that goes right through her head, killing her instantly. Meanwhile, Hall is working as a cashier at a supermarket. He's completely alone now, no wife, no friends, and absolutely no contact with his brother. father. In fact, he's fine with that since he never really liked Bill in the first place. Hall doesn't try to get close to anyone anymore, terrified that the monkey might return and kill anyone he cares about. He does have a son, though, a boy named Betty, named after Hall's late grandfather, but he only sees him once a year. Hall's ex-wife, Rebecca, is now married to a guy named Ted, who's supposedly some kind of parenting expert. Rebecca tells Hall that Ted will be the one raising their son from now on, so there's really no need for Hall to visit anymore. At first, Hall pushes back, but Ted just assures him, "Don't worry, I know how to raise kids." Rebecca finally says, "You've got him for 1 week, so make it count. Create some memories, because after this week, you won't be seeing him again." Around the same time, all of Aunt Ida's belongings are being given away to anyone who wants them. And wouldn't you know it, among the stuff is that cursed monkey. A guy named Ricky spots it and decides to take it home. Hall checks into a hotel with his son, and the two start talking. Betty tells his dad about a school project he's working on, then asks if Hall has any siblings. Hall lies and says no. That night, Hall has a nightmare where the monkey kills him with a sword. He wakes up, turns on the air conditioner, and gets a phone call. At first, Hall doesn't recognize the voice, but the moment Bill throws in an insult, he knows exactly who it is. This is the first time they've spoken in 5 years. Bill tells him Aunt Ida is dead, and the police said the way she died was unusual. He also learned that Ida's things were put up for grabs, and now he's worried someone might have taken the monkey. "You know it can move from place to place," Bill says. "I want you to check Ida's stuff fast." Hall refuses. "I'm spending this week with my son. I'm not wasting it." Bill raises his voice, telling him to take the boy along and pretend it's a trip. Hall still doesn't believe the monkey's really back, until something happens right in front of him. While he's on the phone, Hall glances toward the hotel pool and notices a woman climbing in. Bill keeps insisting the monkey kills anyone close to them and warns him to make sure no one wins it, or his son could be next. Seconds after they hang up, the hotel's air conditioner unit falls into the pool, electrocuting the woman. Her body drifts through the water as everyone screams. Now Hall knows. The monkey is back. He grabs a pillow, shouts into it in pure frustration, then wakes his son. "We have to leave now." He tells Betty that Aunt Ida, the woman who raised him after his mom died, has passed away and he needs to settle some things at her house. Hall tries to convince Betty to stay behind, but the boy refuses. "I know about the adoption," he says. "I know I won't see you again after this week. I want to spend as much time with you as possible. Grandma Lois would have been happy to see us together." That night, Hall dreams of his mother. At first, it's peaceful. He's a kid again, talking to her. But then her face starts bleeding and explodes into a nightmare. He wakes up in yet another hotel, relieved to see his son walk into the room. They head to Aunt Ida's old house and meet a real estate agent named Barbara, who's handling the sale. She casually mentions that Bill told her she should expect Hall, except Hall told Betty he was an only child, so now Betty's realizing his dad lied. Barbara leads Hall inside and tells him there's been a string of strange deaths in the town. One man was killed by a runaway lawnmower, another by a snake that slithered out of a hole. Every day, there's been at least one bizarre accident. Hall starts to get uneasy, searching the house for the monkey. There's one door he can't open, but before he can explain anything to Barbara, she tries all the keys she has, finally managing to unlock it. Big mistake. A heavy metal bar comes crashing down on her, killing her instantly. Blood splashes across Hall, and when it's all over, the only thing left of Barbara is her finger. Meanwhile, Betty wanders through the house and stumbles on an old photo of Hall and Bill as kids. That's when he realizes they're twins. That night, the police arrive to investigate. An officer tells Hall he's not allowed to leave town until the case is closed. Determined to find the monkey, Hall keeps searching. The phone rings. It's Bill. Hall explains what happened, says he still hasn't found the toy, and admits he suspects someone else took it. People in town are dying in weird accidents almost daily. Bill tells him to stay at a hotel until he calls back, then hangs up. Hall starts to wonder if his brother is up to something. He flips through the town's phone directory, looking for any relatives, but instead, he finds something even stranger. There's an entry listed under the name The Monkey, so Hall decides to call that strange number, and to his surprise, the voicemail is in Bill's voice. In it, Bill says he's finally found the monkey toy he's been looking for. That's when Hall starts to put the pieces together. Bill is the one who took the monkey, wound up its key, and set off all those recent accidents. We then cut to Bill, dressed in a funeral suit. Turns out, when they were kids, Bill figured out that Hall had once wound up the monkey's key, and that's what killed their mom. After that, Bill went down to the well to find the toy, but it wasn't there. All he saw was the key. He spent years waiting for the day he'd get his hands on it again. In 2016, he finally found a note that said, "Turn the monkey's key." He took that as a sign the toy would soon show up. From then on, everywhere he went, he would imagine the monkey being there. Bill became obsessed with finding it, not just to have it, but to get revenge on Hall Hall because he believed Hall was the reason their mom died. So he prepared his funeral suit, and one night, he went to Aunt Ida's house hoping to find the monkey. He didn't, but that's when Ida woke up thinking someone had broken in, and, well, we know what happened to her. After that, Bill sent Ricky to get the monkey. Bill wound up the key and told it to kill Hall, but instead, the girl in the swimming pool died. He tried again, but all it did was take out random townspeople. Still, Bill didn't care how many others died, as long as he could eventually get to Hall. Meanwhile, Ricky shows up at Bill's place saying he wants to buy the monkey because it reminds him of his dad. Bill insults him and tells him to get lost, which makes Ricky furious. He goes home, grabs a gun, and heads back out. Back with Hall and Petey, Hall tells his son he's going to call his mom so she can come get him because it's not safe to be with him right now. Petey protests, saying that means he won't get to see his dad again. Hall says at least he'll be safe with Ted. That makes Petey upset because he wants to stay with his father. Hall takes him back to the hotel. Hall then calls Bill, telling him he knows he has the monkey and to stop winding the key because innocent people are dying. He says, "I'm not worried about myself. I'm worried about my son." Bill responds by saying if Hall wants his kid to be safe, he should bring him over and let him be the one to win the toy, because whoever wins, the monkey never dies. Bill says once Petey turns the key, Hall will die and the monkey will stop. Hall refuses, but Bill says there's no other choice. Otherwise, he'll just keep winding it himself. Hall still isn't buying into the plan. He just wants to return Petey to his mom. But Petey suddenly asks why his dad acts like he cares about him at all. Why even have a kid if he didn't want to be close to him? Hall admits he became a father when he was young and didn't know what he was doing. That hurts Petey, who starts feeling like he was just a mistake. Hall tries to fix it, telling him he's very important to him and that he only wants distance because there's something dangerous going on that he doesn't want Petey to get caught up in. Then, a knock at the hotel door. It's Ricky, dressed in his dad's police uniform, gun in hand. He forces Hall and Petey to come with him to get the monkey back from Bill. He tells Petey to sneak into Bill's house and steal the toy without being noticed. Hall can't argue because Ricky has a gun pointed at them. Ricky warns Petey, "Whatever you do, don't win the key on its back." That's when Petey realizes this is the thing behind all his dad's strange behavior. Petey sneaks into Bill's house and immediately triggers a booby trap, a swinging axe, but luckily it misses him. Bill has the place rigged with traps, but Petey catches on and avoids them. That is, until he steps on a wire that drops a bowling ball, but it lands in a machine and stops. Then Petey sees his uncle holding the monkey and whispering for it to kill the right person. Petey asks if he's okay, and Bill says no, not at all, but he does want a small favor. Just turn the key in the back of this toy. It's only a toy, he says, nothing to worry about. Even though Hall warned him never to do it, Petey agrees, not knowing the real consequences. The monkey starts drumming, and at the same time, the tree branch hanging over Hall's car begins to sway. It's carrying a massive beehive. Ricky, meanwhile, feels something itchy in his hair and scratches it with his gun, accidentally firing a bullet. It doesn't hit anyone, but it shatters the car window, leaving a hole in the glass. And then, a single bee flew out of the hive, followed by a whole swarm that went straight through the crack in the glass. They attacked Ricky, swarming into his mouth, and killed him in a horribly brutal way. Hal came out of the car completely fine, calling for his son. Meanwhile, Bill passed by Petey and tried to get him to play the drum again. When Petey refused, Bill snatched the monkey from him, hit him, and made the monkey angry. The monkey suddenly attacked Hal, and Bill tried to force his hand onto the drum, but he just couldn't manage. The monkey hit the drum instead, and the two of them were thrown across the room. Then, out of nowhere, the monkey started pounding the drum faster and faster, which meant a huge number of people were about to die. Bill began hearing screams from the neighbors. Looking out the window, he saw a plane crashing, houses catching fire, bodies falling through the ceiling of his apartment, and even the corpse of a bride who had taken her own life. Then Hal entered the room, and Bill confessed, "I was trying to kill you because of Mom's death." Hal admitted too, "When I was a kid, I also tried to kill you, but we were children, we didn't know any better. Like Mom said, that's life, and we're all going to die someday. But you caused a massacre in the city." Bill regretted everything. Hal reached out his hand and said, "Let's just be brothers again." Bill shook his hand, letting go of all thoughts of revenge. But the game wasn't about to let them leave in peace. One last trap was triggered. A bowling ball came flying and smashed Bill's head clean off his body. Hal and Petey somehow walked out of that slaughter alive. As they left, they saw the bodies of everyone who had died. Hal decided to keep the monkey with him so it wouldn't fall into the wrong hands and cause another killing spree. While stopped at a traffic light, they saw an old man riding a horse with smoke billowing around him, like he'd just ridden straight out of hell. Then they kept driving, and the last thing we see is a school bus. Everyone inside already dead from a horrible accident. And that's where this episode comes to an end.